The Legend of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Part 1, Chapter 61, Crushed. Written and performed by Joseph Chambers and based on the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic books created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Are you seriously that gullible? Master Splinter scorned to Donatello and Raphael, all three of whom were standing in the dojo. I am completely flabbergasted by your behaviour. Obtuse, utterly obtuse. Both his sons looked to the ground in despair. Donatello was just about to make a comment describing how he and his brother's actions were both justifiable and respectful, and Raphael was just about to angrily swear repeatedly in the hope of achieving something similar, when Leonardo stumbled through the circular safe door of the lair, straining to keep a moaning and bloody Michelangelo aloft. Leonardo then fell to his knees, and his family rushed around him and Michelangelo. Michelangelo tumbled out of his hands and gasped harshly as his sagging legs ricocheted off the floor after he found no ability to stop them from doing so. How bad is it? Michelangelo croaked to his father. Not as bad as it looks, Master Splinter reassured, taking a look at his son's legs. It seemed that one leg was bruised severely and broken at least twice, and the other, more bloody leg simply suffered flesh wounds. Overall, he would be walking after a week and able to train after 2. I... Leonardo stuttered, words drastically failing him. I expected more from you, Leonardo. Your actions have proven you to be foolish and irresponsible. I will tend to Michelangelo's injuries. Meanwhile, you will all go to bed. I will talk with you further in the morning. The three brothers then retreated to their bedrooms, Leonardo looking spectacularly disappointed at himself. That was it. He was never going to let this go. He needed to keep himself and his brothers safe at all costs. He would create a brand new training schedule and make sure he and his brothers were ready for anything. If this evening had proven anything, it was that they were nowhere near prepared, and that terrified him, given they only had 2 days left to save the world. April had got a text on her shell cell at 8 a.m. informing her that Michelangelo had been seriously injured, but that training would still be on after school had finished. However, before she could leave her apartment that morning, her mum cornered her and said, "Where are you going?" "To school?" April said, slightly concerned by her mother's condescending attitude. "Where were you expecting me to go?" "Don't play dumb with me, little lady. Who were you talking to outside your school the other day?" "Oh my God, have you been spying on me?" April gasped, doing everything in her power to avoid the unavoidable. "Who were you talking to?" Amanda demanded. "Just a friend from school, I swear." "Then why were they dressed as a giant turtle?" "Competition! There was a competition, a dress-up thing. I'm going to be late." April ducked under her mum's arms and abandoned her home for school, an ache in the pit of her stomach from having to lie to her mum, and at the potential of her friends being revealed to the world when they explicitly did not want to be. Okay, she couldn't lie to her mum forever, but she seriously did not expect her mum to keep the turtles a secret if she did tell her, and with the shredder about, there was no way she could risk any of that. So either way, her telling her mum or not, it seemed that her mum was going to find out, and the turtles would be in danger. Boy, she had never expected a full-blown catch-22 to develop. On the way to school, she hurriedly dug into her textbook-ridden bag and recovered her shell cell, hurriedly calling Master Splinter. "Hello, April. How can I help you this morning?" he asked. "I think my mom knows." April panicked. "I don't know how she found out. She must have seen me and Leo talking behind the school or something." "Why? How did... Master Splinter stuttered. "I'll come by after school and explain April began, before she was cut off by the sudden realisation that a small dog was rubbing itself against her legs. wagging its tail so much the dog could have taken off the ground completely and flown away. April suddenly realised that the dog was the fuzzy and lovable-looking Lobo. How had he escaped from the sewers? A small dog like him couldn't possibly climb the steps to the surface, could he? It looked like April would have to take a detour to the sewers after all. She discovered, after she climbed down into the sewers, that Lobo was squirming far too much for her to carry him. She reluctantly let him go, and he seemed to just sit patiently. Or perhaps she could walk back to the lair and get a turtle to collect him then? But as she walked away, he began to follow. Maybe he could lead her back to the lair then. Then he suddenly bounded ahead in the direction of the lair. Oh, maybe she could follow him then. They arrived at the lair and April opened the door with the touch of her hand on the touchscreen. The door then slammed behind her and Lobo. Master Splinter and the turtles came out of the study, looking quizzically at the newly arrived pair. Michelangelo was currently in a rusted and dirty wheelchair that looked like it could have spent at least 15 years in a river. One of his legs had at least 4 band-aids on it, whilst the other was in a cast. "Hey, Dudette, what you doing here? I thought you had school," Michelangelo asked. "I got half an hour before I gotta be there, but never mind that. What happened to you?" April asked. "I fell off a building whilst trying to save the world with Leo," Mikey stated. "As you do. Anyway, I was just dropping off Lobo. He had somehow..." April began. "Oh my God!" Michelangelo shrieked. "I was so worried when he didn't come to breakfast this morning." Lobo leapt gleefully onto Michelangelo's lap and nestled into a ball. "I would have been crushed if anything had happened to my little ball of joy. Where did you find him?" Michelangelo asked. "More importantly, how on earth did he get out of the lair?" Master Splinter interjected. "If something the size of Lobo could get out, then who knows what manner of things could get in?" Raphael interjected. "Well, thank goodness for that. That pup had only been gone 2 hours, and Mikey would not quit whining about him. He said if anything had happened to him, life was no longer worth living." "I would have been crushed, wouldn't I, my precious boy?" he stated in a silly baby talk voice, while tenderly rubbing the animal's ears, whilst it licked his face happily.